What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 22nd episode on my 1976 F750 CrewCab build series. In the previous episode, you watched us mock up, fabricate, and install a new ECM box under the hood of the CrewCab, which means in today's episode, we are here at my donor truck to start tearing it down and hauling it over to Kyle's shop to be used for anything that we need to complete the CrewCab before body and paint. So there's nothing to it but to do it. Stay tuned. First up for today is to start removing all the body panels that I can easily take off the truck and load it onto the flatbed. I am here by myself today, so I am going to essentially get all the easy stuff like the hood. Ugh, that's been sitting for a while. Anyways, stuff like the hood, bolts, inner fenders, outer fenders. Since I am here by myself, I will just be removing the doors, leaving the cab here because I'm gonna need help from Kyle or my brother to load it up onto the flatbed eventually. Any little bits and pieces that I can start removing by myself, I'll take like the spare tank, the second radiator core. This goes above the core for the hood. I'll pop off the seat, kind of make it less weight in here so when the time comes we can just pick it up and put it onto the flatbed. I will remove things like the bolts for the body, things like that. I might start taking off some of the leaf springs. Obviously I can't remove them or remove the axles yet because I don't have A, someone here with me, or B, the right equipment to load it up on the flatbed. So essentially all the body pieces that I can take off, I'm gonna take off. All the pieces that I can essentially unbolt until the time comes to remove them, I'm going to do that and just make it easier for when Kyle or my brother get here to help me unload everything, get it loaded up on the truck and the trailer, and get it over to Kyle's shop. Alrighty, you guys, front clip is off. Pretty quick and easy. It was nice that we've already torn apart the F750 CrewCab because, well, that's essentially the exact same truck as this, so I knew exactly where all the bolts were, where all the problem child bolts were, kind of what to remove first and things like that. So we removed the hood, just quick and easy, 2 on each side through the hinges. Then I removed the inner and the outer fenders all together. They're sitting over here. Essentially, when I get over to Kyle's shop, I will remove these, but there's no sense in killing time here and removing them. There's just a couple bolts along the sides right there, and this will remove quick and easy. So I got the front clip off of the truck. Essentially, there's just this bracket right here, one right here, and one up underneath. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but that is 4 bolts. Then usually there would be a core support, and that's where the truck or the front of the fenders would attach on the front of the truck. So up next is I'm going to jump to these doors. The nice thing about removing the fenders first is all of the hinges are exposed. That one's a little tougher to get up in there. I know it's kind of hard to see with the light right now, but essentially there's one right here, one right here with a couple bolts up there, and we'll get these doors off. These are gonna be kind of a pain in the butt to do by myself because these doors with all the inner components are pretty dang heavy, but we'll get the door off, we'll jump to the other side, get the other door off, and I will give you guys an update here soon. doors have been removed from the truck. I'm starting to collect quite a graveyard over there of body panels from this truck. Anyways, doors are off on both sides. Up next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the body mounts. So there's two up underneath here, just like the CrewCab, but obviously further back. So we got two right there and two right here. So one right here, one over there, making a total of four. Like I said previously, I will probably just remove all of the wires, air hoses, fuel lines, things for like the heater, and body mounts to make it a completely removable body. And then that way when I get Kyle or my brother here to help me, it's quick and easy just to pick it up, remove it. That way we're not watching each other work and try to get this done efficiently, because I am at a storage unit and I highly doubt they want me to be working here multiple days in a row just tearing apart a truck. But that's what I'm going to do up next. Going to remove those body mounts and start removing everything from the firewall and get this body loosened up from the frame. Something kind of funny that just happened with the truck and the bench seat. I was going to leave the bench seat in the cab and just get all the body bolts removed, everything from the firewall, and get the cab to Kyle's shop. But then once we got to Kyle's shop, kind of remove everything from the interior. Well, when I went in here to start messing around to find the top of the body mount bolt, I moved this to try to move it forward just a hair bit to get to the back ones that are right there underneath the plugs, and the whole entire bench seat just came out. So that makes it a little bit quicker and easier. This thing is so trash. But essentially, there's one less thing out of the cab, making it a little bit lighter when we go to put it on the flatbed. But I'll put the bench seat over there with all the body panels, and man, this cab is starting to get really, really bare, which is perfect for transporting it over to the shop. We keep getting these things. That is so funny. Well, the cab is officially free from the frame. I took all the wiring, air, and any other random tubes off of the firewall. Now, obviously, I'm gonna leave this stuff here. Like I said, we'll take it apart at Kyle's shop. I had to get rid of the steering column, the steering wheel, because obviously it attaches to the steering box. And that wouldn't be good. That would prohibit us from lifting it up. So I think it's pretty loose. I mean, I can pick up the one side relatively easy. So I might try something really dumb. I think I'm gonna slide the cab back, just kind of like go on each side, wiggle it back, and then back the trailer up into here and see if I can't slide it off onto it. Just because I'm impatient for waiting for help, so I think I'm gonna try that first. You guys will see it on the GoPro if I fail, or if it's a success, you guys will also see that. So I am gonna clean out the cab, make it as light as possible since I'm the only one gonna be doing this. I'm also going to take all the body panels, toss it in the back of the utility bed, and get it all tied down, strapped down, get it all cleaned up so that way I can move the trailer up and over. And hopefully by the end of today, we just have a bare frame, which would be ideal. Because honestly, I'm gonna scrap the frame. We're gonna use the leaf springs, but besides that, the whole entire frame is gonna get scrapped just because I don't need it. No point in spending storage fees just to keep it here for no apparent reason. So yeah, I'm gonna move that back, get everything all cleaned up, tidied up, and see if I don't break my back doing so. Well, it's official, you guys. I am not quite the man I thought I was. I did move the cab a bit, but it's just too heavy, and I actually did find two lines up underneath it that I haven't taken off, so I do need to remove those and wait for either Kyle or my brother. They're right there, and they fall up under there. There's like one of them, I believe, and it wraps around. Anyways, I need to wait for Kyle or my brother to get here, so I was able to move it a bit, but it's just, I'm having issues like getting up and over things. Like there's a bracket on the other side that I had to get up and over, but I did manage to get it off the actual mounts themselves. This one I moved it quite a bit off of it, but there's just no way I will be able to shimmy it back to the middle of the frame in order to get it onto the flatbed. So I'm just gonna wait till Kyle or my brother gets here. There's no point in getting hurt, and I would like to keep the cab as fresh and mint as possible. Obviously there's a bunch of dings and dents. I don't care about that, but I certainly don't want it to fall off and slide and shatter the glass or potentially ruin one of these A-pillars that I'm hoping to use a little bit of. That would just kind of deplete the whole entire purpose of this truck and tearing it apart right now. So I'm gonna patiently wait for Kyle or my brother, get it moved back, get it onto the trailer, but the truck is all loaded up, so I'm going to go grab something to drink, and you guys will see us shimmy this thing back into place once one of those two guys get here, and we will give you guys an update here soon. Alrighty, my brother's finally here. It's the same one that helped me go and get the rear axle in Oregon. He brought his dog. She's making her YouTube debut today. But I backed up the trailer, got it into position. I'm hoping we can essentially just move the cab, shimmy it over, kind of maneuver ourselves to where we each get a side, then slide it onto the flatbed trailer. I'm hoping that's how it works. If not, we will have to figure out a different way to move it. I also brought a Sawzall to essentially cut the top half off and just remove the lower half of the cab onto the trailer if need be. It's starting to rain and has been raining, so we need to hurry up and get this done. So I'm sorry if the lighting isn't ideal right now, but it is what it is. We're working outside, and it's time to get this thing loaded up on the trailer. Well, a big thanks to my brother for helping me get that cab off. I was definitely overambitious on even thinking about getting this cab off. It was relatively light when you could pick up one weight or one side, and the counterweight on the other side, the frame helped you cantilever it. But this cab is heavy. Like you guys saw in the time lapse a little bit ago, we kind of had a struggle, maneuvering it over here and then finally get onto the trailer. It didn't take us that long, but it is definitely a heavy cab. Good thing my brother works out all the time because there's no way I could do any of this. So up next, now that we have the cab on the trailer, I am going to grab things that we need and grab things that I can recycle. So for example, we are using the 2016 driveline or drive shaft. I still don't know which one you call it. I think they're interchangeable. But anyways, we are using the drive shaft from the 2016, which is F750 CrewCab short bed, which means it will never fit and will never be long enough for a cabin chassis truck, which is what the CrewCab is. So essentially, we need to lengthen our drive shaft, which means we need to grab this guy right here. It's one of the mounts for the factory drive shaft of this truck. However, since this is also an F750, we can take this because we will just essentially just use that the mount for the 2016 drive shaft and mount it in the same location. So essentially, our drive shaft for this the CrewCab is going to be a 3-piece. So it'll come from the transmission to one, and that will need a mount, which we'll be able to use this one on the factory truck from the F750. It already has one like this because it had a drive shaft in the truck. So we'll use the factory one of the CrewCab for the first section of drive shaft. And then we'll have a second piece from the first mount to about right here. Obviously I can't show you because A, I don't have the drive shaft, and B, this stuff's in the way. So we need another mount for that. And then the third piece will be from here to the rear axle of our new 2016 rear axle. So instead of fabbing up a new mount, I'm just going to steal this guy. It's a perfectly good mount. Luckily, there's no rivets. It's just bolts. And then we will also be able to use all the mounting system. Now, the drive shaft or drive line place that we're using, they will give us new ones of these. If not, well, they said they were. If they don't end up doing that, we can essentially just get factory ones from Ford, and they will work on our 2016 driveline. So this is a nice one. We don't have to make a mount or fab one up. So essentially, we will just unbolt the 4 bolts on each side and drop the driveline, and we will be able to take this, put it into the CrewCab frame, and essentially drill 4 bolts, mount it in place, and we should be good to go. I don't really know anything else I'll need. So, well, actually, I need these 2 bad boys. Just because for the way we're going to do our side steps, I do want to grab those 2. But unfortunately, like, this side step is janky, it's ruined, there's rust going through here just because water has collected there. Then that tank is rusted out to the bottom. We weren't ever going to use that anyways, but I can remove that, take it to recycling, take this to recycling. I do want to kind of essentially make this frame as light as possible. I am going to take that with me, the steering box, because if the steering box of my CrewCab is bad or we have issues, I want to see if this one will work until we can order a new one or rebuild them. And I'm not going to be able to take these front and leaf spring packs out today just because I don't have any stands to keep the frame up on it. And also, this front bumper is so dang heavy that I feel like if I had jack stands underneath it, it would still be very front heavy, which I don't want to deal with. I don't want to worry about this frame sitting here at the storage unit, hoping someone doesn't touch it or bump into it and having the whole thing come off the jack stands. Also, I don't think the storage unit facility would be too appreciative of that. There's some storage units that your vehicle has to drive in and out in order to store it. This one doesn't care. It can be a junker. I mean, look at this. They don't really care. But I'm also not going to push their buttons. So for right now, I'm going to take fuel tank, the seat. I don't need any of those, but I'm going to take them just to get them out of here. Obviously, all the trash from the cab and any other trash that I get off of it. And then I'm going to steal these 2, this guy, and I think that'll be, steering box, obviously. And I think that'll be it The bumper is way too heavy to take off and take right now, but I do think we're going to try to run with this on the crew cab. I don't like how bulky it is, but I do like the front boxes and the potential for a winch. I think with our new custom grille as well as a grill guard, this bumper will look a lot smaller on the crew cab with all those things than it did on this truck. This truck, it just looked like a huge underbite of the cab, which I didn't like at all. So I will take this, but not right now. And I think that'll be it for today. So I'm gonna get to work, start taking everything off, get everything loaded up into the truck and the trailer, get the cab tied down, and we will be heading over to Kyle's shop here in a bit. All right, the frame is as bare as I can get it today. This is everything I'm going to be taking home besides a bunch of recyclables in there. I decided to keep the steering box with the chassis because I was looking online, and for a reman or a brand new one, they're like $400, $500, $600, $700. So if the factory one that came with the F750 crew cab is bad, I'm just gonna buy a new one. I might even buy a reman anyways, just so when we do final assembly, we can toss it in knowing that it'll work well. So I'm not even gonna worry about that guy. So essentially everything I'm leaving on the frame that I still need is the bumper, the front and rear leaf spring packs. Everything else will be sent to the salvage yard, you know, maybe recoup some of the money that I've spent on storing this truck here for like 3 years. I know I'll probably get flack in the comments, or I've already posted on social media people wanting certain things from this truck, or I'll post it saying I'm gonna scrap it, and people are like, oh, I'll take it off your hands. I've literally offered this truck for free. People just have to come and pick it up. No one's done it. I've offered the front and rear axles for free. Just come pick them up. No one's wanted it, but it's so funny how in the comments everyone thinks it's a great idea. They want it. They'll come pick it up, but when push comes to shove, no one actually comes and picks the stuff up. So I'm taking everything to a salvage yard. I'm tired of looking at it. I'm tired of paying for this storage spot. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick little rundown on what I'm taking. Obviously the cab, that was the main takeaway of this video. These bolts on the backside, just like the crew cab, they're rusted out. So we might just have to cut it off of the actual brackets. So I'm taking that. This is for the driveline. It mounts up underneath this guy right there, and this is obviously going to be mounted now in the crew cab. So I have those three things, the cab. But the nice thing about the cab is we have another extra windshield just in case, God forbid, the other one breaks. It is out of the truck, but just in case, we'll have two windshields. No rear glass, but we do have the side, the door glasses, so that works. And then we also have another dash just in case we screw up modifying and retrofitting the factory one of the crew cab. We'll have a second one that we can use just in case. In here, I will be posting the seat for sale or just to get rid of it on Facebook Marketplace. The fuel tank, someone also asked for it. no one's ever come and picked it up. I posted on Facebook and in these bigger truck pages on Facebook. No one's grabbed them. The fuel tank, getting rid of. Like you can see, it's not rusted all the way through, but it's no good, and I don't want to deal with hiring a company to cut the bottom out, re-weld it, and things like that. I'm just going to get rid of it. So that will be recycled. All the stuff back there is going to be taken to the salvage yard and recycled, and then there's the mount for the fuel tank will also be recycled. So overall, I'm pretty happy with what I've come and gotten so far. Unfortunately, I just can't get this stuff right now, and it'll have to be a day that Kyle and I can come and really focus on getting everything. The main point is I just don't want to leave the frame here on jack stands. So when we do decide to finally get rid of the frame and take these leaf spring packs to get them repacked, we'll come spend a day here, bring the truck and trailer back. We'll take the bumper, disassemble everything, grab the leaf spring packs, load everything up on the trailer, and have everything gone all in one day instead of leaving it here vulnerable for someone to potentially get hurt. I'm not trying to get sued over a salvage yard frame, and I don't want anyone to get hurt on top of that. So that is going to be it. We can now head over to Kyle's shop, get things unloaded, and now we have extra parts to use for body and paint for the CrewCab. All right, we made it to Kyle's shop, and there's just no way for me to back the trailer up to the shop and get this unloaded with our hoist between the 2016 donor truck and the CrewCab. There's just no room anywhere. We have axles, the extra axles from the CrewCab, things like that. So essentially, I'm going to do what any normal and sane person would do with the cab, and that is to cut it up just to get it into the shop. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to remove the windshield, because obviously we want to keep that as a backup. But I also want to figure out the best way to cut this up just in case we have to use more pieces of the body than we originally thought. So I'm thinking doing it across the roof, just because this roof is pretty dinged up. I don't know if something fell on it. There's like a huge hole right there. All these dents. So I do know I want to go across the top. Now, I don't know if I want to follow along on the bottom. That'd be the easiest, because then I don't have to cut through both doors because they're gone, and it would be the quickest and easiest. But I don't know if that will be light enough for me to carry. So second option after I make that initial cut is to go to the B-pillars. We don't need these. They're pretty nice on the CrewCab. So essentially through the top, through the B-pillars, and I would take off this piece right here and move it. Then it would just be this back half and these quarter panels in the back. So there'd be that bottom. Now, in the front, I might have to just make a cut along the hood valance to keep this just in case we need it. We obviously don't need the firewall because, well, we have a 2016 firewall in the CrewCab. So I'm thinking maybe in sections and quarters. So it's just one down here and essentially like that. But for starters, I do want to take this windshield off and see what that is like, because the whole point of this cab is for that small little piece across the top. It's going to be really unfortunate if that has any rust that goes through, or if it's worse than the CrewCab, because the whole point of this cab is for that. So I'm going to take that off really quickly. You guys will see that here shortly, and I will give you guys an update on what we find, and hopefully it is good news and we are able to use this cab like planned. Holy hell. Guys, this thing is clean. Oh my gosh, that's like brand new. All right, you guys, it is Christmas morning here with this thing. I'm so happy we saved it. It was worth all of the time and money spent and the hassle of getting it over here. The lip where the windshield wipe or the windshield sits is absolutely perfect, like absolutely perfect. I don't know if it was a separate factory that assembled this one versus the CrewCab, so the seals were different, or if it was a different material, or just the warehouse or the assembly line that did it just did a god-awful job. But there is absolutely no rust, nothing like that. There's a little bit of surface area right here. See if I can see it with the sun behind the clouds. It's right here. You can see the discoloration. But then up underneath, there is absolutely nothing. God, that is so hard to see. I'm really sorry. You guys definitely can't see that. But there's absolutely nothing underneath that, which is super happy because now we can essentially just cut this guy out along the entire thing, cut it out on the CrewCab, replace it, weld it back into place, and we will have a rust-free cab. This is super exciting, super stoked. I was going to be so mad if this was also rusted out. I do know this is a common area for trucks and classic vehicles to rust out because the water will come off the hood, sit above there where the rubber is, because there is a little bit of a lip. So the water would sit there and eventually drip through up underneath, get through it's not a drip rail, because this is a drip rail, but kind of per se. Super stoked, super happy that we are able to cut this out and use it. So up next is I'm going to start chopping this guy up. I'm thinking, after thinking a little bit more, like I said, I'm going to cut into quarters, but then here, this half from here to here, I'm just going to cut it right there. So that way we have extra the A-pillar just in case we want to cut out a little bit on the CrewCab to have a little bit more to bite into and weld into. So that's the game plan right now. Gonna cut it into quarters. That'll be kind of a game time decision if I cut it there or cut it there. I'm thinking right there because that's just a lot more material. So you guys will see that here soon, and I will give you guys an update as soon as we're done with that. All right, you guys, we essentially have a skateboard of a floor pan of the single cab, well, cab. So we essentially cut it into 3 parts instead of 4 like I originally thought. So I did go down the top of the roof, and then on the bottom, on the left, I went like right there, obviously, and then on the right-hand side, I went right there. So this piece right here is a little bit of the roof down to about the middle of the A-pillar. Oh, I'm sorry, I did cut it into multiple pieces. So the top piece along the roof, down on the A-pillar a little bit, just in case we need to use some of the A-pillar on the CrewCab. And then the second piece was essentially the whole entire firewall and the dash and all those components. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, 4 pieces. And then over here was the cut along the floor pan, and then in the middle of the roof to keep the B-pillars just in case we might need those. So all those body pieces are in the shop right now to be used later for when we break down the crew cab for body and paint. When we do body work, we will cut out along the windshield and swap it over to the crew cab. And I'll tell you what, guys, the piece above the windshield on this thing is so perfect, like you guys saw in the previous update. It is so nice. I'm super stoked. So essentially, this truck is now done for. It's so crazy that I have a title for this truck, and well, we don't need it anymore. So this is going to the salvage yard, that's going to the salvage yard. You're going to recycle all this. So whatever's left of the truck that we need is essentially just the spring packs and the front bumper, and then all of the rest of the truck, the chassis, the frame, those things will also go to the recycling center to get rid of my storage unit, because I have paid over a couple $1,000s in storage fees just for this truck, which is ironic because I spent $300 for the entire truck a couple years ago. So that is about it. We need to get on out of here, take this stuff to the salvage yard, and get this trailer cleaned up so we can use it for the chassis of this truck. All right, you guys, that's gonna be a wrap for today's episode. We got the entire donor truck torn down, loaded up on a flatbed trailer, and hauled over to Kyle's shop to be used on the F750 crew cab. Now, we didn't get everything from the donor truck like the leaf spring packs or the front bumper, but we didn't want to put this chassis up on jack stands in order to remove the axles and take the leaf springs, because we didn't want someone to potentially run into it or hit it and have it fall down on them and hurt someone and us be liable for that, because it is still here at my storage unit. So we decided to kind of hold off on that until a better day where we can take this entire chassis to a recycling center and kind of get rid of the entire thing all together at once, while we grab the leaf springs. Which means in the next episode, we're going to jump to the front of the truck and start mocking up and modifying and do a final assembly of the grill around this massive 6.7 Power Stroke dual coolant package. So we really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one.